Hey everybody, it's me, John Ward, and welcome back to another short review. And on this video, I am going to be talking about Phil Herman's Unearthed. This is an anthology. This is from this year, 2024. It runs 1 hour, 47 minutes, and 31 seconds. There are 4 stories and 1 wraparound, so that'd be the host segments. And the directors on this are, and I apologize in advance if I mispronounce anybody's name. So we have Marcello Fabiani, Derek Barash, James no, I'm already having problems. Tia, Will DeVokes, Phil Herman, and Christopher Kathler. So once again, sorry if I mispronounced anybody's names, but yeah, if you guys watch my videos enough, you know I have problems with names. So and also I apologize for my voice. I am still sick, but I wanted to get this review out, and because why do I want to get it out is I'm giving this a very good review. I really enjoyed this film, and it's hard to put together a good anthology. It's because normally the first story is good, the last story is good, everything in the middle is meh. And I enjoyed all these stories. And I have a couple nitpicks, but they're really just nitpicks. It's not really anything totally negative. So I liked the directing in this. I liked the producing in this. I liked the editing. I liked the stories. So basically the writing. Excuse me. There's going to be coughing probably on and off. I thought that they were put together very well. And I thought the production on all of them was really good. I got to be honest. I was surprised because, like I said, it's hard to get that solid anthology across. And I know this from putting together my own anthology, which will hopefully come out next year. There's parts 1 and 2. And it's, you got to find the filmmakers that you like. You have to find the directors and the writers, and you know, do they share your vision for what the story is, you know, especially if there's some sort of theme in there. And I think that Phil Herman succeeded in what he did. One of these is, even though I enjoyed all of them, one of them is a standout for me. And when we get to that, I will let you know. So I'm not going to rank the short stories each. Right now, I'm going to give this like 4 out of 5 stars. And my only reason for giving it like 4 out of 5 instead of maybe like 4.5 is that the sound is really low. And I have a pretty decent sound system, and I had to turn it all the way up to hear the dialogue. So that might be something that, you know, Phil Herman might want to look into, is that it is very low. I don't think it was my equipment. I think that maybe it is. He sent me a link for a screener, so maybe just the screener is low. But it's I did have to turn it up. I watched the film twice, and I think it was definitely the you know, the what I was watching. So maybe double check that. So what happens in this film? So at the very beginning, we have what could be maybe like a gravedigger or an undertaker, kind of a little Rob Zombie-esque type of guy. He's got like a messed up eye and, you know, side of his face. And he's got like the hat on and all that. Goes out into the woods and digs up a coffin. He opens the coffin. There's a woman inside. And maybe because of the air hitting it, hitting her, she turns into a skeleton. He then picks up a book, brings it back to his place, which is then our setup for the rest of the movie with this character who is named Doom as our host. And he's at this table. There's some skulls, some candles, and some other things. And he is going to tell us 4 stories that have never been solved. So this is my thing with the wraparound is I wish that the wraparounds, that each little segment with Doom were a little bit longer. And because I like him as a character, and I did like that we just didn't have the big busted Elvira or Vampira type host, that it was actually this kind of cool looking Rob Zombie guy. I like that. Mixing it up a little bit. And I enjoyed that. So I would have liked it to be each segment to be just a little bit longer with him. And, I always use like Tales from the Crypt, the HBO show is my example, where we get a little bit at the beginning and then like a little bit at the end, with the Crypt Keeper. So maybe giving it just a little bit more breathing room wouldn't be a bad idea. But otherwise, it's fine. He's there to introduce each story. He does that, and it serves its purpose. I only say something because I like the character and would like to see a little bit more of him. There you go. So the first story is called The Ties That Bind. And for each of these, I'm not going to get too in depth on each one. Pardon me. Because there is a twist on each of these. And I like the twist. Even if I could predict the twist, there was kind of another twist on some of these that I wasn't expecting. So I'm going to be pretty vague on what each story is. So like I said, the first one is called The Ties That Bind. And this is, it's a murder case story. A woman goes missing on a 3-day hike. And then there's 2 police detectives that are investigating this missing hiker. They basically send out like a search and rescue team, and they find certain items from the hiker that then we have 2 detectives, and one of the detectives, it reminds him of a case from a while ago that he was on. And it basically dealt with a father and a daughter was killed, and the detective had to send him to jail. And he's saying this new murder with the evidence found is very similar to that case. And so it's a male and female detective. And this is the longest one. This is 45 minutes. And that didn't bother me. It is long for this. And what I liked about this also is that it looks like they shot in a real police station. And that is something that I appreciate a lot, is a real place, instead of just putting up on the walls some fake posters that clearly were printed up. Is that this actually looks like it was shot at a real police station. And some of it also might have been shot at a real hospital. If they weren't, I mean, thumbs up to the director and, for making it look like a real police station and hospital. So this one detective, the male detective, he thinks maybe this could be a copycat killer, or maybe he put the wrong person in jail. That's pretty much what I'm going to say about that, because I liked where this went. And I think that this was a good one to start off with. So the second one is called Look Towards the Sky. It's an alien abduction. So it does have kind of like a fire in the sky type of feel to it. A man has been missing for 3 days. So we got like a 3-day thing going. And there's his wife and his dad, and they're worried. You know, they're hoping that he'll be back soon. Otherwise, they're going to call the police. And excuse me. And there's a flash of light, and the man appears. He's naked outside by like a pool. The wife goes out, you know, to get him, brings him back inside. And it looks like the dad does call the police to say, hey, we found him. You know, you could call off the search. He's here. And then the son proceeds to tell them what happened to him when he was abducted, the experiments that were, you know, done to him, and that there is an invasion coming up. We do see the aliens, which I give the director credit. They're CGI aliens, but I think they look pretty good. But it was nice to just see them right out there. I mean, like looking through a window, there's one right there. They're just right there. You know, they're not trying to hide these aliens. And I like that. And then there is this twist, which I'm not going to get into, but there is a scene where the father is talking to the police, which I find a little confusing, but because he can't, I don't know if he necessarily believes what just happened with the twist. But I love what the UFO looks like. We see it a couple times. I think that UFO looks awesome. It's a good design. And I would have liked this one to be longer. I would like to have seen what happens. Now, if there is an Unearthed 2, maybe we could get a sequel to find out what happens at the ending, or does this invasion happen? I enjoyed this one a lot. I really enjoyed it. So I want a sequel. That's one of my nitpicks, is I want to know what happens. That was obviously done on purpose, but I would like to see more of this. You know, the stuff with the first story, the ties that bind, that within those 45 minutes, you basically get the beginning, middle, and end, you know. But even that one could have a sequel. But if it doesn't, it has a satisfying ending. For me, Look Towards the Sky, even though I like the ending, I wanted more. And that's a good thing. That's a compliment. I want more. I wasn't bored. So please give more. The next story on here it's called Clean House. This is a foreign film. It's French. There are subtitles. And it's a silent movie, more or less. Like the very beginning is silent. And then we get into about, I don't know, halfway through maybe, it then gets into the subtitles. So it's also very religious. And I will tell you, this is my favorite story because I like the atmosphere. It's a period piece. There's like a pretty cool old school phone that they use that I like. And one of my favorite films, and it's a found footage movie, is called The Vatican Tapes. I love that movie. And it's because of the last 1 minute of that film made me love The Vatican Tapes. I would love to have a sequel to that. So this is, and I found the beginning to be a little confusing. So I had to look up a couple reviews. And it's basically, and I might be getting this wrong. So a woman is like out in the field, and she's basically, you know, using like I don't know exactly what you would call it, but she's like wheat or something. She's like hitting down wheat with like a tool. And she goes to a witch, maybe, and to get pregnant, because the witch gives her these like 3 vials. And next thing we see is like the woman is sitting in front of her house and she's pregnant. And she lifts her shirt up and you could see something moving inside. And I believe she takes one of the vials, and then that goes to another scene where she's with a man, and there's a letter that he crumples up and kind of throws at her, and then she opens it and kind of reads it, and that cuts to the man making a hole in the ground, and he has baby socks, and he throws the baby socks into the ground. So I'm guessing the baby died, and maybe it was figured out that it wasn't his, but the baby died. He's burying the socks. That thing goes to the woman sitting outside the house, and this is where more sound comes in and the subtitles. Because before this, the footage goes from regular footage like this to there being scratches and grains and all that. And I couldn't tell the difference between, like, was one meant to be like a flashback and the other one is present day. So I was a little confused on that. Where I really liked what I saw is when she starts hearing this moaning from inside the house. And she goes inside the house and she calls a priest, and a priest comes out. And when the priest comes in, there's kind of this, you know, ghost flying around. He tells it to stop, and it does. And he blesses the house to get rid of the spirit. And then something happens, and that's where I'm going to end it. So this reminds me of the Vatican tapes. Even though I'm confused by the beginning, maybe if we're going to kind of keep it silent and all that, maybe put up like a card that tells us what's happening. You know, Maria goes to witch to get pregnant, something like that. But once the subtitles kick in and the sound kicks in and we hear that moaning outside, I got really into it. I really liked it. And it has an ending that I think is very reminiscent of the Vatican tapes. And this is another one that I would actually like to see a sequel to. So far, we have really 3 films that you could do a sequel to. And that's good. Because I'm, you know, so far I'm into it. And I had no problem watching this a second time. You know, that's where I really kind of looked at it for the review. And so our next one is called Highway Rivalry. And it deals with the highway killer. And what we do is that we see and this is one where I'm not telling the ending at all. Like I'm not even going to get close to what the ending is, because this ending took me completely by surprise. And I really dug it. So there's a woman who wants sex. Her boyfriend comes home. He's way too tired. She's pissed. She goes up and takes a shower. Oh, never a bad thing. The boyfriend dies of a heart attack, I'm assuming. The woman freaks out and leaves. She's hitchhiking and is picked up by a person in a truck who might be the highway killer. And then we kind of have this journey with them. On the other side, there are two detectives that are trying to find the highway killer. And eventually they do catch up to the highway killer. That's where I'm stopping it. Because now I'm completely surprised on what happened after this. And I think, and this is even one where they could do, all of these they could do a sequel to. And I hope some of them they do. So there are, I want to mention some people here. There are some known people in this film. You got some, like Butch Patrick is missing person number 3. You also get Tiffany Helm, Tina Kraus, you got her, Debbie D. Who else do we got? Phil Herman, he's in the movie. And Christopher Kaffler, he plays Doom. Dustin Hubbard is Road Reaper voice. Derek Barash is a prison guard. William DeVokes plays a character named Frank. Oh, he plays the man that got abducted. Bob Glazer. Who else do we got? Ralph Ray. And basically just looking at the people that I recognize or know. Yeah, and this was crowdfunded, so there's a fair amount of producers on here. So I do recommend this film. Please check it out. You know, help support an independent film. And you know, if enough people watch it, you know, maybe there will be an Unearthed 2. And then hopefully people will tell us what happened to these other people. What I found interesting is the first story and the last story are, I think, good bookends, because they both deal with murders, they both deal with detectives, they both deal with investigations. And so those are good bookends. And then you get something a little different, which would be a sci-fi alien abduction movie. And then after that, we get a foreign subtitled exorcism movie. Nice. Well done, guys. I think that you did a great job on this. So I really do like this. And that's my review. So luckily I didn't cough too much and my voice is okay. A little raspy, but yeah, please check it out. And I'll see you on the next short review. All right.